Hello, peeps. How are you on this Friday morning? It's a hillbilly halfwit, and we're going to talk about the Syria conflict and what is going on and what I think is happening. Right. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe because there's been a few people unsubscribing or being taken off this last week. So it'd be very nice if you subscribe underneath and help me out. And click and like and share. So let's get going. The content in this video is intended for comedic purposes only. The views expressed in this video are not to be taken as factual information or a representation of my personal beliefs. I'm critically reviewing the info and videos I show as examples. Right. If people who know me, my friends, this is me. When you truly don't care what anyone thinks of you, you've reached a dangerously awesome level of freedom. And genuinely, that's what I'm like. I don't give a toss what you think of me. I don't give a toss at all. It doesn't do anything to me. I was taught to tell the truth, whether you like it or not. That's what happens. And I don't care if you're friend or foe. Simple as that. Right, before we get any further, I'm going to show you a little video next. But before we get any further about the farm protest, somebody in the comments yesterday made an absolutely brilliant suggestion. Now, if there's anybody from the farm protest or knows Gareth Wyn-Jones, tell this to him because it's fantastic. Now, the BBC were not showing the agricultural stuff really on the channel. So if you go down to London next time, protesting with the tractors, just go straight outside the BBC. They can't not put that on. It was such a brilliant idea. I had to put it on you. So next time you go down, if you go down with the tractors, whatever, to London on the protest next time, go straight outside the BBC and block outside the BBC. And the Channel 4 and everything, they're going to have to show it. They're going to have to show it because they're only giving us bad headlines anyway. So let's give them something to think about, if you see what I mean. So let's get going and let's talk about this other subject, Syria. Now, I've been following this for quite a long time. And when this started, I realized it was going to be a cluster attack, if you know what I mean. So it's all refugees that we have are coming from Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria. They're all war refugees and nothing to do with the climate. It's all war refugees. This is all a big plan. So let's listen to the NATO boss.
In 4 to... We are not ready for what is coming our way in 4 to 5 years. Danger is moving towards us at full speed. We must not look the other way. We must face it. What is happening in Ukraine could happen here too. And regardless of the outcome of this war, we will not be safe in the future unless we are prepared to deal with danger. We can do that. We can prevent the next big war on NATO territory and preserve our way of life. This requires us all to be faster and fiercer. It is time to shift to a wartime mindset and turbocharge our defense production and defense spending.
Let me put this again.
We are not ready for what is coming our way in 4 to 5 years. Danger is moving towards us at full speed. We must not look the other way. We must face it. What is happening in Ukraine could happen here too. And regardless of the outcome of this war, we will not be safe in the future unless we are prepared to deal with danger. We can do that. We can prevent the next big war on NATO territory and preserve our way of life. This requires us all to be faster and fiercer. It is time to shift to a wartime mindset and turbocharge our defense production and defense spending.
Warmongering swines. What a bunch of warmongering swines. And if you follow this, Putin is a bad guy. Let's be honest with you. Putin is one of them guys that is on the spectrum. But if you follow this from the start and you're willing to tell the truth, you realize that this was started by this lot because they put too many troops on the border, and it would be the same as in America or the UK. If you started amassing troops on a country's border, you would be putting troops against them. It's as simple as that. They wanted something after the pandemic, and it was really weird, or not weird, how the day after all this started, after, especially in the UK, they were trying to change the news, and they got it planned during what was going on. We all know that, and that's what I think anyway. Now, a lot of people won't like that, but that is the true fact. The EU has been taking food from Ukraine for decades, and then they've been using that, which was outside of the EU to start with. So Ukraine isn't in the EU, and they've been importing food into the EU for decades from Ukraine cheaply, and then the rest of us in the other countries were not selling our produce, and they were keeping the prices down. That is the ducking truth. Nobody's afraid, everybody's afraid to say it, but that is the ducking truth. That's what was going on in the quiet. Now, Ukraine is not in the EU. And what this guy is basically saying, Trump is going to be in for the next 4 years, and they're going to try and get Ukraine into the EU. And then they want to move all the troops up to the front where they are now at the moment. That's what's happening. Don't be fooled by all this. This is warmongering, people. Warmongers. Now, whatever you think of Trump, Trump is not a warmonger. Now, what is going on in Syria, in my opinion, Trump is already getting his hands in there. And what he said to Putin or whoever's in charge and Zelensky, he said, this is going to stop. And they've said to Putin, we want something back for you to get your ground back. And that's why Syria has been given back. I can 100% guarantee you. Putin has said to Trump or whoever, he said, I'll pull back from Syria if you let me have this. That's what's going on in Ukraine, 100%. And a lot of people won't like that, but that is what's going on. Now, the Syria is very, very interesting. So let's go and have a look at that. These people from BlackRock are deciding what goes on in the world because they're making billions upon billions rebuilding all these countries in Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria. They make all the money. They make all the contracts after. They tell our countries what's going to happen. They'll bomb the place to smithereens, and then they'll make the money making it back. And they sell the bombs, and then they make the money getting it back. That is as simple as that. The guy from BlackRock there. Now, this is Assad, yeah? And if you look on the right, that was the American president. But at the time, he was actually the leader of the CIA. And they put this Assad in. They actually put him in charge of the country. That's the real ridiculous thing about it. Now, Assad, whatever you people think about him, you don't hear the truth about this guy. He was actually taught in the UK, and his wife, and I'm sure he's a surgeon or a doctor. Very, very high level qualifications. These people that I showed you on the last page there have decided he had to go, really. And when Cameron was in charge, this is hard to believe, but this is true. I remember it at the time. When the war in Syria started, we were actually, the UK, I remember a question in the House of Commons against David Cameron, where we were funding both sides. It's the most weirdest thing I've ever seen. Now, this is the Los Angeles Times. In Syria, militants armed by the Pentagon fight those armed by the CIA. This was last week. CIA-armed Syrian rebels clash with Pentagon-backed militants along Turkish border. These people are warmongering, insane people. Now, this is a short video here today, but I had to say something about this because this is the truth of what's going on. Trump is coming into power and NATO realized that Trump isn't giving them any money. But Biden has given them hundreds of millions beforehand on the quiet. Well, not on the quiet. He's actually said it out in the open. So the deep state in America have given hundreds and hundreds of millions of pounds to keep wars going behind Trump's back. Trump is trying to stop this. Whatever you think of him, he does not like war. There's going to be something going on with Iran and Israel. That's going to happen. It's guaranteed to happen because that is one thing. Trump is on Israel's side. So something's going to happen there. Not sure what the earth is going to happen there. But they're going to pressure Iran to stop funding the Palestinian terrorist side. I think that's what's going to happen there. But I'm not saying what's right or wrong there. That's just one of them places. I'm 50 years old, and that is never going to change, that place. Never. Because they hate each other's guts, both sides. Whatever happens, that will keep going. And tragic, it's always been tragic. Nobody will fix it. So I just thought I'd show this because it shows you what warmongering people are in charge of these countries. And then I showed you the other day about Starmer, where he likes to get his mitts in Davos and all that. This is all what they want. They want conflict around the world. They are after conflict in the Middle East, and that pushes refugees to our smaller countries like us, overwhelms us all, brings new voters in for their candidates. That's what's happened in London, Birmingham, all over the UK, all over Germany, all over France. That is what is going on. They've been it's vote rigging. It's the removal of the original citizens who were in the countries because they can't control the original citizens without having it being rigged. That is the plain fact. So, warmongers. Like him or not, Trump is about to change things in a big way. And now I've said this from the start. I don't think they'll let him be the leader. I'm still convinced they will bop him off. They are that nuts, these people. Personally, they are completely insane. So there we go. Please comment, rate, and subscribe. Thank you for watching my vids. Really appreciate it. I'm just a normal guy saying the truth. Sometimes people don't agree with it, but that's it. That's the truth. Ta-da!